Too many men today confuse tolerance with love. They endure behaviors no man should ever accept, calling it compromise, keeping the peace, or worse, being a good partner. But let's be brutally honest. That's not love. That's surrender. And every time you tolerate disrespect, you teach her that it's acceptable, and she will keep doing it. What starts as small infractions becomes the new standard. You lose her respect, your dignity, and eventually, yourself. If you want to protect your identity, your worth, and your masculinity, here are 8 behaviors no man with self-respect should ever tolerate. 1. Flirting with other men to get a reaction. One of the most insidious forms of disrespect a man can encounter in a relationship is the strategic use of flirtation with other men to provoke a reaction. While society has normalized some forms of harmless flirting or lighthearted interactions, the intent behind such behavior is what separates the benign from the toxic. When a woman flirts with another man in front of you, laughing a little too hard at his jokes, lingering glances, casual touches, it is often not just an innocent moment. It's a test, whether she realizes it or not. It's a subconscious probe to see if you're emotionally reactive, if you'll break frame, if you'll chase validation, or if you'll prove your worth by competing. But the harsh truth is this: a woman who truly respects you doesn't need to test your emotional security by undermining it. Too many men confuse jealousy for passion, and they interpret these tests as signs she wants them to fight for her. But when you play into that trap, you're no longer leading the dynamic. You're being led. The moment you let her pull your strings with another man's presence, you cease to be grounded in your value. A stoic man, however, sees through the game. He knows that emotional self-control is not weakness, it is power. He doesn't react like a boy threatened by competition. He doesn't beg, explode, or become emotionally chaotic. Instead, he calmly makes it clear: I'm not interested in sharing my life with someone who seeks attention from others to feel validated. When you enforce that boundary not with anger, but with serene clarity, it communicates strength. It shows that your attention is a gift, not a default. A woman who genuinely wants to be in your life will understand that. A woman who doesn't, let her walk. You've lost nothing except someone who would have slowly eaten away at your dignity over time. 2. Weaponizing. Tears to avoid accountability. There's something deeply manipulative about using vulnerability as a shield against responsibility. When a woman is confronted with a legitimate concern, you've called her out on a lie, a betrayal, or a clear act of disrespect, and she immediately resorts to crying or becoming overly emotional, you must pause and consider what's actually happening. Is this genuine hurt, or is it deflection? For centuries, men have been conditioned to protect women, to soothe them, to step into the role of emotional caretaker the moment tears appear. But some women understand this instinct and exploit it. They know that if they cry, the spotlight shifts. Now, instead of discussing what she did, you're consoling her about how she feels. In this sleight of hand, accountability evaporates. You're now the villain for making her cry, instead of holding her accountable for crossing a line. A stoic man doesn't abandon his empathy, but he also doesn't let tears dictate truth. He calmly holds his frame. He recognizes the difference between pain and performance. He might say, I can see you're upset, and we'll talk about your feelings, but right now, we're addressing what happened. This is the kind of emotional clarity that separates boys from men. It's not cold-hearted, it's responsible. A relationship built on mutual respect cannot exist if one person can simply cry their way out of every difficult conversation. When you let tears replace truth, you enter into a dynamic where the woman becomes emotionally untouchable and you emotionally imprisoned. 3. Disrespecting you in public and calling it a joke. The quickest way to lose self-respect is by allowing yourself to be humiliated publicly, especially by someone who claims to love you. It often begins subtly: a joke about your job, a comment about your intelligence, your body, your habits, all wrapped in the guise of humor. She'll say, "I'm just playing," or "Don't be so sensitive." And yet, every time you let it slide, you teach her that you are comfortable being disrespected as long as it makes others laugh. Public disrespect is not accidental. It is a boundary push, a silent query. Will he protect his dignity, or will he trade it for peace? Too many men choose the latter. They fake a smile while something inside them dies a little each time. A stoic man doesn't lash out, nor does he retreat into silence. He speaks with calm assertion. "If there's an issue, we can discuss it privately, but don't make me a punchline in public again." This simple statement reclaims authority without creating a scene. And here's the truth: when a woman respects you, she protects your image in public. She doesn't seek to elevate herself by putting you down. If she's testing you through mockery and you fail to address it, expect that the jokes will escalate. Today, it's about your haircut. Tomorrow, it's about your manhood, your value, your failures. And once your image is damaged publicly, regaining respect, hers or anyone else's, becomes infinitely harder. Dignity is non-negotiable. Lose it in front of others, and you lose it in yourself. 4. Using love as leverage. If you really loved me, you'd do this. Those words should send a chill down your spine. Because real love never comes with a price tag. Some women have learned that the most effective way to control a man is by making him fear losing their love. They use affection like currency, giving it when you're compliant, withdrawing it when you're not. Over time, you become conditioned. You start thinking, if I just say the right thing, do the right thing, avoid this or that, maybe she'll love me again the way she used to. That's not love. That's psychological captivity. Love is not earned through obedience. Love is not a test you pass or fail. A stoic man recognizes manipulation when it's masked as standards. He understands that conditional love is control dressed in romantic language. He calmly says, "Love isn't a weapon. I won't be in a relationship where affection is used to punish me or bend my will." And he means it, because he knows that a love that is threatened, withheld, or given only when convenient is not love at all. It's a contract of submission. If you stay in that dynamic, you begin to internalize a false reality that you are unworthy unless you conform. This mindset doesn't just kill the relationship, it slowly kills you. 5. Belittling your goals and passions. Purpose is not optional for a man. It is the center of your identity, your mission, whether it's building a business, writing a book, mastering a craft, improving your body, or contributing to the world, is what gives your life momentum. When a woman scoffs at your goals, dismisses your passions, or mocks your ambition, what she's really doing is trying to shrink you. She's not just laughing at your hobby, she's laughing at your essence. A supportive partner challenges you, yes, but she does so with respect, not contempt. There's a difference between constructive feedback and underhanded mockery. If she belittles your goals consistently, you must ask, why is she threatened by my growth? Some women fear your evolution because it means you might outgrow them, and instead of rising with you, they try to clip your wings so you'll stay grounded. A stoic man doesn't choose between his mission and his relationship. He integrates both, but if forced to choose, he walks away from anything that makes him smaller. Because a man who abandons his mission to gain love ends up losing both. 6. Testing your boundaries to see if you'll break. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're frameworks to keep your integrity in place. Women will test your boundaries, not always maliciously, but to see if you truly stand for what you say you do. It's human nature. A missed appointment, a snide remark, a dismissive tone. You feel it, but you wave it off. Then it escalates. She begins ignoring your calls, dismisses your views, laughs when you express discomfort. You tell yourself it's not a big deal, but it is. Every unaddressed act of disrespect reinforces a new truth in her mind. Your boundaries are flexible, and every time you stay silent, you slowly dissolve your own voice in the relationship. Until one day you wake up and realize that you're not even sure who you are anymore. The Stoic man enforces boundaries early and consistently. He doesn't scream or guilt trip. He simply names the behavior and states the consequence. No bluffing, no theatrics. I don't allow that in my life. If it continues, I'll walk. That's not cruelty, it's clarity. Because real love thrives within the safety of boundaries, not in the chaos of emotional lawlessness. 7. Threatening to leave. Whenever she doesn't get her way, threats of abandonment are among the most psychologically abusive tactics in a relationship. When a woman says, "Maybe we shouldn't be together," every time you disagree, she's not trying to solve a problem. She's trying to control you through fear. Even worse is the silent version, emotional withdrawal, withholding love, treating you like you're disposable until you bend the knee. This creates an environment where you're constantly trying to avoid triggering her exit. You stop being honest. You start hiding your truth. You live on eggshells. And little by little, your soul shrinks in the name of keeping the peace. Stoic man will never tolerate this. He knows that any relationship built on ultimatums is not sustainable. If she threatens to leave, you let her. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your own peace to be emotionally blackmailed. If leaving is what you want, I won't stop you, he says with calm resolve. Because when she sees that her threat no longer holds power, the manipulation dies, and only the truth remains. 8. Withholding affection to control. Affection in a relationship should be an outpouring of connection, not a bargaining tool. When a woman only shows affection when you're compliant and withdraws it the moment you disagree, you're not in a loving partnership. You're in a behavioral training loop. This emotional starvation tactic is dangerous because it hijacks your nervous system. You begin to associate affection with obedience. You'll do anything to earn it back. And slowly, you become her puppet, jumping through hoops, sacrificing your voice, just to feel desired again. A stoic man doesn't beg for touch. He doesn't chase intimacy like a starving man. He calmly addresses the behavior. We can talk about your feelings, but affection isn't something we withhold to win arguments. He makes it clear that he won't be manipulated with silence, withdrawal, or coldness. Because when love becomes conditional, it stops being love. And a man who values his heart doesn't negotiate it with someone who weaponizes their warmth. Final word. Every single one of these behaviors erodes your self-respect one grain at a time. Most men don't lose themselves in a single explosion. They're worn down through years of tolerated disrespect. But when you become a man of boundaries, clarity, and grounded strength, everything changes. Not only do you command respect, you feel it within yourself. So I ask you again, which of these have you tolerated in the past? And where do you draw the line now? Say it with me. I draw the line.